Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtipraye Shivabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhagavati Nashtiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 24, chanting the song sung by Lord Shiva, text number 69 onwards. So Lord Shiva is further instructing Prachetas. Idam japat bhadram vo vishuddha nripnandanaha swadharmam anutishtanto bhagavati arpita shaya. My dear sons of the king, just execute your occupational duty as kings with a pure heart. Just chant this prayer, fixing your mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. That will bring you all good fortune, for the Lord will be very much pleased with you. The prayers offered by Lord Shiva are very authoritative and significant. Simply by offering prayers to the Supreme Lord, one can become perfect, even though engaged in his occupational duty. The real purpose of life is to become a devotee of the Lord. It does not matter where one is situated, whether one is a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, American, Englishman, Indian, etc. The Supreme Personality of God. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is also a prayer, for a prayer addresses the Supreme Personality of Godhead by his name and invokes good fortune by petitioning the Lord to allow one to engage in his devotional service. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra also says, my dear Lord Krishna, my dear Lord Rama, energy of the Lord, Hare, kindly engage me in your service. Although one may be situated in a lowly position, he can execute devotional service under any circumstance. As stated, ahatuki apratihata. Devotional service cannot be checked by any material condition. So this is what Lord Shiva is saying. Just pray from the bottom of your heart, with a pure heart, and this will bring all good fortune unto you, or the Lord will be pleased with you. And this prayer, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is nothing but a prayer. Then, oh Krishna or Radharani, please engage me in your service. So more prayers come out in a pure way, with a pure heart, ahatuki apratihata. Then Krishna will definitely respond. One may remain situated in his own place or his own occupational duty and still lend his ear to receive the message of the Lord from realized souls. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on this principle. And we are opening centers all over the world to give everyone a chance to hear the message of Lord Krishna in order to go back home, back to Godhead. So this prayer, this Hare Krishna chanting, more and more we do, more and more purely we do, will definitely get very good results. Krishna will be pleased. Tamevatmam atmanam atmastham sarvabhuteshu avasthitam pujyadvam grinantascha dhyayantascha sakridharim. Therefore, O sons of the King, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, is situated in everyone's heart. He is also within your hearts. Therefore, chant the glories of the Lord and always meditate upon him continuously. The word asakrit is significant, for it means not just for a few moments, but continuously. That is the instruction given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshashtaka, Shloka number 3. Kirtanya Sadahari. The holy name of the Lord should be chanted 24 hours daily. Therefore, in this Krishna consciousness movement, we request the devotees to chant at least 16 rounds on their beads daily. Actually, one has to chant 24 hours daily, just like Thakur Haridas, who was chanting the Hare Krishna mantra 300,000 times daily. Indeed, he had no other business. Some of the Goswamis, like Raghunath Das Goswami, were also chanting very rigidly and also offering obeisances very rigidly. As stated in Srinivas Acharya's prayers to the six Goswamis, Shat Goswami Ashtak Sankhya Purvaka Namagan Natibhi Kala Vasani Krito. The word Sankhya Purvak means maintaining a numerical strength. Not only was Raghunath Das Goswami chanting the holy names of the Lord, but he was also offering obeisances in the same prolific numbers. So Raghunath Das Goswami used to chant, I think 128 rounds every day, 2 lakh names, and he would pay obeisances 2,000 times to the deities, to different deities, and 1,000 times to the Vaishnavas every day. Because the princes were ready to enter into some severe austerity in order to worship the Lord, Lord Shiva advised them to constantly chant of and meditate upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is significant that Lord Shiva personally offered his prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, just as he was taught by his father, Lord Brahma. Similarly, he was also preaching to the princes according to the Parampara system. One not only should practice the instructions received from the spiritual master, but should also distribute this knowledge to one's disciples. So this is what Lord Shiva was doing. He received the knowledge from his father, Lord Brahma, and now he's giving it down further. The word Atmanam Atmastham Sarva Bhuteshu Avasthitam are also significant. The personality of Godhead is the origin of all living entities. Because the living entities are parts and parcels of the Lord, he is the father of all of them. One can search out the Supreme Lord very easily within one's heart, for he is situated in every living entity's heart. In this verse, the process of worshipping the Lord is considered to be very easy and complete, for anyone can sit down anywhere and in any condition of life and simply chant the holy names of the Lord. By chanting and hearing, one automatically engages in meditation. So the Prabhupada says it's very simple in this day and age. Anybody can sit down anywhere and in any condition of life, simply chant. In fact, we should make it habit to chant 24 hours. One can say, oh, it's not practical, not possible. At least we can have in our house or in our office, the chanting can go on in the background. At least we are listening to the chanting. Even if it is unconscious listening, we are listening. And slowly, it takes practice. It takes lots of practice, but it can become a habit of listening to Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And along with it, we can chant, we can sing, we can murmur Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So it should become just a habit, 24 hours. There was a devotee. He used to, during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's times, he got so much used to chanting the holy names that his tongue would always be vibrating Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So he was always chanting, whether on the beads or not, but he was always chanting. So somewhere, either he read or he heard from somebody that the holy name of the Lord is non-different from the Lord. So then he got into a dilemma that when he went to answer nature's call, he said, I cannot chant now because I'm answering nature's call. How can I have Krishna be with me at this time? So he would try to hold on to his tongue, but the tongue was always vibrating. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and he would try to hold on to his tongue. The tongue was vibrating, and it was a very difficult situation for him. So there was a little boy named Gopal. So somehow he saw this person doing this. And Gopal went to him. He said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, I have to go answer nature's call and I cannot bring Krishna with me. The holy name is non-different from Krishna. But my tongue cannot stop chanting his name. So what to do?" Gopal said, "Oh, haven't you heard? Haven't you realized that death can come at any time? And if while answering your nature's call, what if you die? And if you're not chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then you might not go back to Godhead. And Krishna is always pure. He can be anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't matter. You should chant always." So that person's dilemma was over. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard that Gopal, although he was a little boy, but that Gopal spoke so intelligently and he has understood the Nam Tattva, the truth behind the holy names and the chanting of the holy names. So he named Gopal as Gopal Guru. He said, "You are a real Guru. You have understood the Tattva of holy name." So this is what it is. We have to get into the habit of chanting always. And moreover, another advantage of chanting the holy names always is we won't do any gossiping. We won't do any criticism of any devotees because we're always busy chanting. It purifies us and then it engages us positively. So it is all the benedictions and benefits. Yoga desham upasadya dharyanto muni vrataha samahit dhiya sarva etat abhyasata dhritaha. My dear princess, in the form of a prayer, I have delineated the yoga system of chanting the holy name. All of you should take this important stotra within your mind and promise to keep it in order to become great sages. By acting silently like a great sage and by giving attention and reverence, you should practice this method. In the Hatha Yoga system, one has to practice bodily exercises, dhyan, dharan, asana, meditation, etc. One also has to sit in one place in a particular posture and concentrate his gaze on the tip of the nose. There are so many rules and regulations for the Hatha Yoga system that it is practically impossible to perform it in this age. The alternative system of Bhakti Yoga is very easy, not only in this age, but in others as well. For this yoga system was advocated long ago by Lord Shiva when he advised the princes, the sons of Maharaj, Prachin Barhishad. The Bhakti Yoga system is not newly introduced. For even 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna recommended this Bhakti Yoga as a topmost yoga. He said in Bhagavad Gita, "Of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all." So Bhakti Yoga is not something new. Generally, people think this way, that about 500 years ago, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, and actually that was the time of Bhakti movement in India. That was a time. It was a time when Guru Nanak Dev appeared, Mirabai appeared, and so many other devotees. They appeared at that time. And they started the movement at that time. But it's not new. Okay, Mahaprabhu appeared and gave for this day and age chanting of the holy names. But Bhakti Yoga has been there since time immemorial. Like Prabhupada quoted this verse from Bhagavad Gita, Yoginam api sarvesham But Krishna spoke this verse to Arjuna 5,000 years ago, but in Bhagavad Gita itself, he says, I spoke Bhagavad Gita to sun god Vivaswan in the beginning of creation. So Bhakti Yoga, as such, is there because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about Bhakti Yoga. Manmana bhav mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So that he also said to sun god. So Bhakti Yoga has been there since the beginning. The topmost yogi is he who constantly thinks of Krishna within himself and chants the glories of the Lord. In other words, the system of Bhakti Yoga has been existing from time immemorial and is now continuing in this Krishna consciousness movement. It just in other ages, there was a different system for self-realization, but Bhakti Yoga was always present. The word Muni Vrataha is significant in this regard because those who are interested in advancing in spiritual life must be silent. Silence means talking only of Krishna Katha. This is the silence of Maharaj Ambarish. Savai mana Krishna Padaravindayo Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunanu Varnane. King Ambarish always fixed his mind on the lotus feet of the Lord and talked of him only. We should also take this opportunity in life to become as good as a great saint simply by not talking unnecessarily with unwanted persons. We should either talk of Krishna or chant Hare Krishna undeviatingly. This is called Muni Vrata. The intelligence must be very sharp, samahita dhiya, and should always be acting in Krishna consciousness. The words etad abhyasadad vritaha indicate that if one takes these instructions from a spiritual master with great reverence, adrata, and practice them accordingly, he will find this Bhakti Yoga process to be very, very easy. So Bhakti Yoga process is very easy, it just we make it very difficult. Idam aha purasmakam bhagwan vishwasrikpatihi brigvadinat dinam atmajanam sisrikshu samsrisrikshutam. This prayer was first spoken to us by Lord Brahma, the master of all creators. The creators headed by Bhrigu were instructed in these prayers because they wanted to create. Lord Brahma was created by Lord Vishnu. Then Lord Brahma created Shiva and other great sages, headed by Bhrigu Muni. Now one can say Lord Brahma did not create Lord Shiva. Of course not. But he appeared through between the eyebrows of Brahma. So in one way, he created. But Lord Shiva appears. He doesn't take birth, or his body does not get created by Brahmaji. But other sages, yes, the bodies were created by Brahmaji. These great sages, including Bhrigu, Marichi, Atreya, Vashishta, and others, all these great sages were in charge of creating population. Since there were not very many living entities in the beginning, Vishnu entrusted Brahma with the business of creation. And Brahma in his turn created many hundreds and thousands of demigods and great sages to continue with the creation. At the same time, Lord Brahma cautioned all his sons and disciples by reciting the prayers now recited by Lord Shiva. Material creation means material engagement, but material engagements can be counteracted if we always remember our relationship with the Lord, as that relationship is described in these prayers recited by Lord Shiva. In this way, we can remain constantly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That despite our engagement in the creation, we cannot be deviated from the path of Krishna consciousness. The Krishna consciousness movement is especially meant for this purpose. In this material world, everyone is engaged in some particular occupational duty, which is prescribed in the Varnashram Dharma. Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, and everyone are engaged in their occupational duty. But if one remembers his first duty, keeping in constant contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, everything will be successful. If one simply executes the rules and regulations of Varnashram Dharma in the role of a Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and keeps busy and does not remember one's eternal relationship with the Lord, one's business and activities as well as the occupation duties will simply be a waste of time. So this is what Lord Shiva is saying. You do your duties. First you go through this training, whatever tapasya you want to do, but do the bhakti yoga. But then when you do your duty, at the same time, first thing is to remember Krishna. Just like Krishna told Arjuna also, fight this war, but think of me. He never said, don't fight this war. And he did not say, just fight this war nicely and expertly, with all the strength and might. He do everything, but think of me. So that is why Prabhupada has made us all get serious about chanting. And that too chanting early morning. First thing in the morning, we chant. We try to complete our rounds and then get on with our daily duties, daily activities. So the point is, in the morning, we take this shot of immunization against Maya. But the whole day we can chant, but the first thing that we do, the first thing in the morning is chant Hare Krishna Mantra. Conclusion is that even if one is busy executing his occupational duty, his business in Krishna consciousness need not be hampered. He has simply to execute the devotional service of Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing, chanting, and remembering. One need not abandon his occupational duty. So as stated in Bhagavad Gita, yata pravritir bhutana yena sarvam idam tatam Karmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manava. By worship of the Lord, who is the source of all beings and who is the all-pervading man, can, in the performance of his own duty, attain perfection. Siddhim vindati. So he can attain perfection. Thus one can continue with his occupation duty, but if he worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Lord Shiva herein prescribes, he attains his perfection of life. Swanishtitasya dharmasya samsiddhar haritoshana. We should continue executing our occupational duties, but if we try to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead by our duties, then our lives will be perfected. So that's all Bhakti Yoga is. So Bhakti Yoga is the only system, only path that can be performed along with our duties. Just like for Hatha Yoga, we have to leave the duties and sit down and do the meditation. And for a long time, we have to do the meditation. Jnana Yoga, we have to leave our occupation duties and sit down and study the scriptures, try to understand the scriptures. For Bhakti Yoga, while working on computer, we can chant. While going by metro, we can chant. While taking the cab, we can chant. While bathing, we can chant. While passing stool, we can chant. While eating, we can chant. While cooking, we can chant. While cleaning, we can chant. So Bhakti Yoga can be performed all the time. So that is the beauty of Bhakti Yoga. And that's a power of Bhakti Yoga, that every moment it can purify us. Te vayam noditah sarve prajas sarge prajeshwaraha anen dhvasta tamasah sisrikshamo vividha prajaha. When all the Prajapatis were ordered to create by Lord Brahma, we chanted these prayers in praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and became completely free from all ignorance. Thus, we were able to create different types of living entities. In this verse, we can understand that the various types of living entities were created simultaneously at the very beginning of the creation. The nonsensical Darwinian theory of evolution is not applicable here. It's not that intelligent human beings did not exist millions of years ago. On the contrary, it is understood that the most intelligent creature, Lord Brahma, was first created. Then Lord Brahma created other saintly sages like Marichi, Bhrigu, Atreya, Vashishta, and Lord Shiva. They in their turn created different types of bodies according to karma. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Kapil Dev told his mother that the living entity gets a particular type of body in accordance with his work, and that this body is decided upon by higher authorities. The higher authorities, as appointed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are Lord Brahma and all other Prajapatis and Manus. Thus, from the beginning of creation, it can be seen that the first creature is the most intelligent. It is not that the so-called modern intelligence has developed by the gradual process of evolution. As stated in Brahma Vaivarta Puran, there is a gradual evolutionary process, but it's not the body that is evolving. All the bodily forms are already there. It is the spiritual entity or spiritual spark within the body that is being promoted by the laws of nature under the supervision of superior authority. We can understand from this verse that from the very beginning of creation, different varieties of living entities were existing. It is not that some of them have become extinct. Everything is there. It is due to our lack of knowledge that we cannot see things in the proper perspective. So Prabhupada is saying it's from the very beginning, all the creatures, all the entities, all 8,400,000 species are there from the very beginning. So human beings are there from very beginning. Not the Darwinian theory, like Prabhupada says, that modern intelligence just appeared about 10 or 20,000 years ago. That's what they claim. No, that's all nonsense. In this verse, the word dhvasta tamasa is very important, for without being free of ignorance, one cannot control the creation of different types of living entities. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Deva Netrena, bodies are awarded under the supervision of superior powers. How can these superior powers control the evolutionary process of living entity if they're not free from all imperfections? The followers of the Vedic instructions cannot accept the Darwinian theory of evolution, for it is marred by imperfect knowledge. So, and also Darwinian theory just starts from in between. It doesn't start from point zero. They never come to the level of point zero anyway, from the beginning. But he was imperfect, and we all are imperfect. So we all try to study and make some sense out of it and try to follow it. But it's not the right knowledge. So along with Lord Shiva, all the Prajapatis, they have created everything in the beginning, and the process just goes on under the supervision of the authorities, higher authorities. So we keep on taking birth in 8,400,000 species of life and go up, down, or remain at the same place. And this is what we have been doing since times immemorial. So this is what Lord Shiva is speaking to Prachetas, that you do this and you will attain the perfection. Perfection in both spiritual matters and for procreating more population and then ruling over also. So you'll get all the perfection. Okay, so we'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I think we need a class on the position of Lord Shiva also. It's so much of confusion that Brahma created Shiva. Shiva Loka is above the Brahma Loka. Now, why this total
No,
mixing? Shiva
no,
says
no,
that I
no.
am the son of Brahma.
Because he appeared from within the eyebrows of Brahma. So he regards Brahma as his father. But Lord Shiva's position is he is expansion of Sadashiva. It just he appears from that point, so he accepts Lord Brahma as his father. That's respect.
And Shiva Loka is above Brahma Loka.
Of course, Shivaloka is between material and spiritual worlds. Brahmaloka is within the material universe.
Yeah, it's the end of the material world. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just out of his courtesy and humility, he says, Brahmaji is my father.
At the time of dissolution, Shiva, there's nothing that happens to Shiva Loka.
That is beyond the material universe.
So nothing happens to him.
No.
Okay.
See, all the Shivas in different universe, they merge into Sadashiva.
Okay. And from them, they again expand.
Yeah.
When the creation takes place again.
Yeah. Just like Garbha Daksha Vishnu and Shiru Daksha Vishnu, they merge in Mahavishnu. Okay. So you all have a safe and wonderful. Yes.
Just a quick question, Prabhuji. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So Prabhuji, the 7 days Bhagavad Gita which happens, like one my father-in-law is conducting in